Knowledge is power. Specifically, knowing which security settings are enabled on computers and monitoring threat activity is the power to protect your organization. Let's take a look at one of the tools we can use to oversee the security status of all enrolled computers in our organization, Jamf Protect's macOS Security Portal. The macOS Security Portal is a web application which allows administrators to configure and monitor security settings of computers with the Jamf Protect agent installed. My name is Andy. Welcome to the macOS Security Portal. After logging in to the macOS Security Portal, the first thing we see is the Overview page. This is one of 4 informational pages, listed at the top of the sidebar on the left. On this page, we can select between 3 dashboards full of useful metrics about our environment. The Detections dashboard highlights important details about the status of our enrolled computers, such as the number of computers which haven't reported their status for 30 days. Directly below, we can view an overview of all alerts within our environment, grouped by severity, and we can change the display range to the last 24 hours, 7 days, or 30 days. On all 3 dashboards, displayed elements can be clicked to view more details. The Apple Security Dashboard highlights status information and security event detections reported by Apple's built-in security tools like Xprotect and Gatekeeper. The Computers Dashboard highlights alerts and configuration details about enrolled computers, such as which version of the Jamf Protect agent is installed and whether or not full disk access has been enabled. Moving to the sidebar on the left, we can click Compliance to see how well our organization is meeting the requirements of our configured security baseline. The first page we see in Compliance is the Summary tab. Here, we can view an overall score of our organization's progress towards achieving full compliance with our baseline. Below is an overview of computer and plan information to ensure reporting is configured properly. To the right is a breakdown by category of all rules currently implemented across enrolled computers, as well as the percentage of pass, fail, and unknown results. At the very bottom of the summary page is an even deeper breakdown of rule compliance. Here we can view each individual rule within our baseline, how many computers it applies to, and other details like how many computers have passed or failed. If we want to see which computers have passed or failed, we can click the name of any rule in this table to see the complete list. Next, let's return to the Compliance page and click Baseline. Here we see each rule within our configured baseline and a visual representation of how many computers are currently passing or failing this rule. If needed, we can use the switch to enable or disable each rule individually. Each rule also displays its source, such as CIS Level 1 or CIS Level 2, which can be used as a filter by clicking the appropriate filter button near the top. We can also filter by enabled or disabled rules, and we can download a report of this page as a CSV if needed. Remember that everything on the compliance page is solely informative. It's up to us to use this information to determine the best path forward for our organization. Next, we can click Computers to view all computers in our organization with the Jamf Protect agent installed. Enrolling a computer requires an MDM solution capable of deploying the Jamf Protect agent and relevant configuration profiles to Mac computers, such as Jamf Pro. More on that later. At a glance, we can see the serial number for each computer, what version of macOS they're using, whether they've recently connected to the macOS Security Portal, what threat and protect versions are installed, and more. We can hover over any of the status or version icons to see more information about that specific computer's status. Click Alerts in the sidebar to view the last of our informational pages within the macOS Security Portal. Here we see a list of timestamped alerts for events which we may want to know about on enrolled computers. Each alert is automatically assigned a severity which ranges from 0, informational, to 3, high, and can be filtered with the filter button in the column header. We can also assign a status to each alert using the checkboxes at the left and the Change Status button above the column headers. The status field can be useful to avoid conflict when multiple administrators are working in the same macOS security portal, or simply to aid visual clarity when working alone. When I first visit this page, the default filters are set to not display alerts with informational severity or those with a status of resolved. These filters can be cleared with the X button to the right of each one, or by clicking Clear All. Doing so will expose the full list of all events that have occurred in my environment, such as a screenshot being taken, a USB device being connected, or Gatekeeper blocking an application. These are all tagged as informational since they naturally occur as a user works on their computer. We can filter the list again to exclude these by using the filter buttons in the column headers for severity and status. Next, let's take a look at the bottom section of the sidebar, which contains a number of pages for configuring our desired compliance behavior for our organization. Let's start by clicking Analytics. Analytics are rules that detect suspicious user behavior and malicious system activity. Analytics can be grouped as desired into an analytics set and can be viewed from the Analytics Sets tab. Each analytic set can be viewed at a glance here, or can be clicked to view more details about which analytics are included in the set. To view all available analytics, click All Analytics near the top of the page. By default, all analytics on this page are grouped by category. Clicking the arrow next to any category will expand it, displaying the analytics within. Many of these analytics are based on the MITRE ATT&CK matrix for macOS and are tagged as such in the Tags column to the right. Each analytic is given a category, such as persistence, execution, or defense evasion, which also correspond to the tactics from the ATT&CK matrix. Each analytic is also assigned a severity, informational, low, medium, or high, which controls the severity when displayed as an alert within the Alerts page. Analytics can also be created manually using the Create Custom Analytic button at the top. If you think custom analytics might be useful to your organization, take a look at the Jamf Protect documentation linked in the resources. Next, let's click Plans in the sidebar. Plans are comprehensive security configurations which enable administrators to determine which analytics, compliance results, actions, and more should apply to each enrolled computer. Each computer can be assigned a single plan, and once that plan is deployed to the computer via configuration profile, the computer will report its compliance back to the macOS security portal. Each plan can be customized to suit an organization's compliance needs by including specific analytics, logging types, and compliance results, among others. The macOS security portal comes with a pre-configured default plan containing all available analytics. New plans can be created with the Create Plan button if a custom defense configuration is needed for individual computers or specific groups or departments. Let's click Actions in the sidebar next. Action configurations allow us to customize data collection from enrolled computers, as well as storage and management of that data in Jamf Protect and elsewhere. Just like with plans, the macOS security portal contains a pre-configured default action configuration already set up and ready to use. Click Default to see what an action configuration contains. Here, we can determine which alert levels are sent to Jamf Protect for viewing in the macOS security portal. We can also choose to collect telemetry data and unified logs and forward them to a third-party Security Information and Event Management (SIEM) solution. This requires a bit of setup work, but it's a helpful feature for organizations that need to capture and organize every last bit of data for analysis. Finally, we can customize the verbosity of data that is sent to Jamf Protect when an alert is triggered. By default, Everything is selected, which reports all available data attributes when an alert is triggered. We could choose to reduce this to minimal to include fewer data types, or set it to custom to allow us to specify which data types we'd like to view. Next, click Threat Prevention in the sidebar. Threat Prevention is the malware prevention and remediation tool included in the Jamf Protect agent. Similar to Xprotect in macOS, threat prevention automatically detects, blocks, and quarantines malicious processes on enrolled computers. Threat prevention is updated regularly by Jamf engineers. On the Endpoint Threat Prevention tab, we can see a count of computers with the latest version installed, as well as a list of previous versions. On the Custom Prevention Lists tab, we go above and beyond the standard endpoint threat prevention definitions by blocking processes and quarantining files based on hash or signing information. The Web Protection tab allows us to navigate to the Jamf Security Cloud portal to configure category-based content web filtering. The next items in the sidebar, device controls, unified logging, and telemetry, are more specialized features not used by every organization. Device controls allow administrators to prevent the use of removable storage devices to mitigate accidental data loss and unauthorized access. Unified logging allows the macOS security portal to collect log entries from enrolled computers via custom log filters. Telemetry enables administrators to forward device activity feeds to SIM solutions and more granularly control which events are logged and forwarded. See the Jamf Protect documentation for more information and to see if these features would be useful in your environment. Finally, the administrative section of the sidebar contains settings and controls for administrators working in the macOS security portal. Here we can view information about our organization's account, configure data forwarding, download the Jamf Protect agent for distribution, and more. We can even view a glossary of useful terminology in the documentation page, and configure the appearance of the macOS security portal within the Preferences page. Now that we've explored the macOS security portal, we're ready to dive in and start using all the available tools. For more information on the macOS security portal, be sure to check out the complete Jamf Protect documentation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in another video.